Hi everyone, I'm Varda Sharma, editor Newsband, daily English newspaper of Navi Mumbai. Today we have with us a highly talented and very young 23-year-old wildlife photographer from Navi Mumbai. She has won several awards and accolades. She was the youngest girl to have won the Century Asia Young Naturalist Award and the International Camera Fair Award. Welcome, Aishwarya Sridhar.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for having me over here.
Aishwarya has made us proud once again by becoming the first Indian woman in the adult category to have won the highly commended award in the Behavior Invertebrate category at the 56th Wildlife Photographer of the Year competition. The results were announced just recently on 13th October this year at the Natural History Museum, London. Her prize-winning image was among the 50,000 entries that were received from around 80 countries across the world, and was one of the images from the 100 shortlisted one. Wow, highly commendable.
Thank you, ma'am.
First of all, heartiest congratulations, Aishwarya.
Thank you so much.
And can you please tell us what this image was all about? Where did you shoot it? And when you were doing the photo shoot, did you have any inclination that this will bring you such a coveted award?
No, not at all. The image is of fireflies, and this was clicked at Bhandardara in Maharashtra, not very far from Mumbai. It's about 3-4 hours drive from Mumbai city. So the image has this one tree that is absolutely dusted with fireflies, top to bottom. It looks as if the tree is dusted with gold, and it's under the star trails. So it's clicked at about 12ish at night, and it's a beautiful image actually of fireflies in all their glory. And while clicking the photograph, I had absolutely no idea that this would go on to win at the Wildlife Photographer of the Year. But when I processed the image, I came back to my hotel and I did the whole of stitching together. That's when I realized that yes, maybe this photo does stand a chance, and so I entered it in the competition.
Okay, and Aishwarya, you have done your bachelor's in mass media from Mumbai University. Yes. Why did you think of becoming a wildlife photographer?
So wildlife photography started very early for me. Since childhood. My daddy gifted me a point and shoot camera for my 11th or 12th birthday. And from that time onwards, I fell absolutely in love with clicking photographs, be it of birds, be it of animals, insects. I used to run behind everything that basically creeped, crawled, walked, flew, or any living creature was very fascinating to me as a child. And that somewhere played a very big role in making me choose wildlife photography as a profession when I grew up. At one point after my 10th standard, I wanted to be a CA actually, because my dad is also a CA. But the whole thing changed as with every trip that I made into the forest. So every time I looked into the eyes of a tiger, or I saw an elephant, or I was, tracking a hyena, all these experiences somewhere made me feel that just sitting behind a desk and working was not something that I wanted to do with my whole life. So that is maybe the catalyst that pulled me towards this profession, and I decided to be a wildlife photographer and filmmaker.
Not many people take up this profession. In fact, there are, I think, very few women wildlife photographers.
Yes.
So are there any challenges along the way?
I won't say challenges as in just being a woman. Being out there, I didn't find any, but there are certain challenges with the profession as such, as in terms of funding. People especially don't give women much funding when it comes to wildlife filmmaking and funding your project. That apart, then there's always people's perception that being a lady, you're in a field which is highly male dominated, and there is this thing that there are many times this has happened to me when people have asked me that, can you even lift your camera? And how is it possible that, the camera is as big as you? And I was like, okay. So these are things that you have to deal with. I take it with a pinch of salt and I say, fine, leave it.
You
It's
are
each
there to
person's
change the
thoughts.
perceptions, I guess.
I hope so. It's changing right now.
Yes, I'm sure. I mean, especially now after watching the interview, I'm sure it might change.
I really hope so. And a lot of girls out there want to do wildlife photography and filmmaking. So I think it's high time we accept that girls can practically do anything.
That's
Gender
true.
doesn't define our profession.
But otherwise, in the profession itself, how challenging is it? Because you're going to the wildlife wilderness. So how difficult it is in general?
You need to have patience. Especially in wildlife photography, you definitely need to have patience, because being out there, there are many there's like a lot of times when you expect to see something but you end up not seeing it at all. So you have to wait for days, sometimes for months, to get that one shot which you probably have dreamed of getting, of an animal or a bird. So that way it is challenging. It tests your patience. It also, you need to be really well versed with your camera, with your subject as well. You need to understand the behavior of the subject that you are clicking. So it's good to always read up about, your animal or the bird, or any park that you are visiting. It's important to gain some knowledge beforehand to then go and go out in the field and shoot. Apart from that, another challenge is possibly, getting the right opportunities to showcase your work. That is a major challenge, because wildlife photography has a lot of accomplished professionals in this field. So as a newcomer, to be able to stand out among the rest is a big challenge. So you have to continuously work on your craft.
During your photo shoot, you must have encountered a number of incidents which are thrilling, exciting, as well as terrifying and hilarious. Can you share some of those?
Okay, yeah, there are a lot of encounters. I probably have to go back and see which one. Okay, let's maybe start with the scary part and then I'll come to the funny part. Okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so the scary part was, this is one moment which I probably never forget. I was shooting some birds on a beach, and I was so engrossed in clicking that they were gulls and they were sitting near the beach shore, and I was like going on clicking, walking, clicking. And at one point I kind of settled and I knew that they were pretty close, so I went on shooting. After some time, when they flew away, that's when I realized that I wanted to go and follow them. I tried to walk, but I couldn't. And I looked down, and I was completely in the sand. I was probably stuck in a quicksand kind of a thing until my knee, and I could not move. I just stood there. It took me a while to sink, and to know what is happening. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm stuck. Now what do I do?
You were
And
all alone?
no, I had my dad, but he was a little far away. So I had to literally scream and bring him. And this was somewhere, I think I was about 14. Yeah, I was 14 at that point. So it was a little scary for me. And he came and then somehow took a stick and he pulled me out. It was painful, but yeah, he pulled me out. I will never forget this incident.
I know, it is quite scary even to hear it.
And after that, I make it a point, especially when I'm on a beach, to check my surroundings first and see where I'm standing, and then only I start.
And not to get so engrossed in photography,
Yes.
I guess. Okay, some other incident?
There have been a couple of incidents when I've been shooting bonnet macaques and langurs in Karnala Bird Sanctuary, which is pretty close to where I live, which is Panvel. And there have been so many times when I have left my car window open and I'm busy clicking them, and when I come back I find my bag has been raided. and they have taken any food item that I've kept, be it a sandwich or a banana or some biscuit packets. They completely raid my car.
No way.
While it is hilarious, it's also somewhere I feel sad that these monkeys have to, resort to such measures to just get food.
That's true. Yes, yes. Okay. Anything, any more?
Let me think.
It's very
There's
interesting to hear such, incidents, because it's very nice to know how challenges you must have encountered on the way.
Yes, absolutely. One thing that comes to another story that comes to my mind is when we were shooting in Tadoba Anthari Tiger Reserve, and there was this tigress with her 3 cubs, and we were waiting at one waterhole to catch a sight of her and her family, and it was really hot. Like Tadoba summers get extremely hot, so the temperatures reach up to 45, 48 degrees Celsius during the summer months of April and May. So we were in the month of April there, end April, and I was waiting at this waterhole. It's mid-afternoon and the sun is shining really down on you, and we've been waiting there like for 2-3 hours. We were standing at one spot hoping that she'll come out to the waters, because that's where the sightings are mostly they happen the most during summers. And after a long period, this one cub of hers came, and it sat right in the open in front of us. So I began to click, and then there were alarm calls that were when we could hear from the forest, and my guide told me that definitely the mother is coming. So the cubs are in the bushes, they're sleeping, and one of them has come out, and the mother is definitely coming. So I was super excited. I was like, yes, this is the moment I get when the family is all together. And I had trained my camera on the cub, but out of the corner of my eye, I was keeping a tab on the other side as well, on the other bank, when the mother would come. Suddenly, I see this barking deer just shoot out of the bank as if it's a bullet. And I just look to see the mother charging from the right behind the barking deer. The cub in front of me is racing to intercept the barking deer, and boom, you have a live kill right in front of you. And it's not just one cub, the other 2 cubs also join, and that's it. It's finished in just a matter of a few seconds. This is one moment I would never forget in my life. Never ever.
That's true. And you shot the moment, everything? Or you
Oh
were
yes,
just
I did.
frozen?
No, I did miss the mother part, but I did get the cubs killing.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, you are also a member of State Wetland Identification Committee, which has
Yes.
been established at the instance of the High Court. In fact, you are the youngest member.
Yes.
So what is your role in it? What do you do exactly in it?
The committee is now, the work is done because we have finished mapping the wetlands. But our role as a part of the Wetland Brief Documentation Committee is basically to go and survey the wetlands that are listed on the list, and we go and see if the wetland is currently, is it still a wetland or has it been reclaimed by developers. Then we prepare reports. So I mainly focused on the Panjay wetlands at Uran and some of the Panvel wetlands.
Yes, and you are also, a conservationist. You long
Yes.
for conservation of environment. In fact, your first documentary was telecast on DD and helped in protecting the
Yes.
last remains of Mumbai, the last wetlands in Mumbai. So can you please tell us what exactly it was?
So my first documentary was on the vanishing wetlands of Navi Mumbai more specifically.
Mhm.
And there is this one wetland called Panjay, which is about an hour's drive from Mumbai city. And it's the only remaining wetland right now in the whole coastal town of Uran. And at one point, Uran used to have about 1,000 or 2,000 hectares of wetlands. As a child, I remember the entire city. In fact, it wasn't even a city back then. It was more of a fishing village. And the whole place used to be teeming with wetland birds, and it used to be like the migratory birds that used to flock Uran used to be like in so huge numbers that it was overwhelming to see them. But over the years, the entire wetland habitat has been degraded and destroyed. Uh, they have been traded for our economical development, and Sidco had leased out all these lands to NMSEZ, which is Navi Mumbai Special Economic Zone. And they have built this big SEZ wall enclosing Panjay as well. And they wanted to reclaim Panjay as well. And at that point, I decided to make the film. Thankfully, the film went viral on YouTube. And after that, there was a lot of petitions that came up. People took notice of the existence of this wetland. And there was this whole incidence of Sidco putting these 71 sluice gates. They made it functional across the main inlet of tidal waters into the wetland, and that completely led to the wetland drying up. The mangroves were also affected. So I took the pictures of all of this with GPS data in my camera, and I sent it across with complaint letters to our environmentalists, to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, the then Chief Minister of Maharashtra, to the Wetland Grievance Committee, to the Konkan Divisional Commissioner, to the Mangrove Cell authorities. And thankfully, at that point, they all woke up and they felt that Panjay needed to be protected, and the gates were opened and the wetland was restored. But this is a continuing battle. Even today, we are fighting to bring Panjay, give Panjay a status of a bird sanctuary, which it really which it deserves, because the wetland is home to over 1.4 lakh migratory birds every year. And not only apart from the bird habitat that it offers, it is also a very huge, a source of livelihood for the local fishermen.
Right.
And as a local, when you are denied your very basic right of livelihood, it's extremely sad. So the local fishermen right now over there are really facing a problem because, one, it's pandemic and they can't even resort to their other jobs. Second, their livelihood of fishing is completely stopped. Whatever they used to earn from tourism as well has also gone down the drain. So it's a complete loss for them.
That's true. And Aishwarya, you have also been working on digital series for WWF India. What is this all about? What are these series?
So during the lockdown, we came up with this fun concept that children would feel very bored sitting at home, not being able to go outdoors, spend time with their friends and play. And it's, after all, during the lockdown period, that was summer vacation for the kids, right? So I presented and directed an 8-part series where the children were taught how to make animals and birds using paper folding techniques or origami, for that matter.
Okay.
So it's a very fun, entertaining series where every episode was focused on one endangered species, which I taught them to make using paper. And I also, at the same time, taught them some information, showed them some videos and pictures of the species. So they learned as well, and they had the species which they had made with paper to keep for themselves as a memento.
And this way you were also trying to create awareness on wildlife.
Yes. So it's a mean of, it's a mean of entertainment, at the same time educating them as well.
Okay. So what is your upcoming project now?
My upcoming projects, I want to make a story, a documentary, in fact, on the endangered primates of India. There are a couple of endangered primates in our country, starting with the lion-tailed macaque. There's the Nilgiri langur. There is the golden langur in Bhutan. There is the capped langur. There's the Fire's leaf monkey. There's the Hulog gibbon. There's so many of them, and many people don't know about their existence. So I want to highlight their stories.
Okay, and what advice would you like to give to those who would like to, embrace this profession? Is there any particular course that they can take, or any other guidance that you can give?
See, when it comes to courses, like I am an internet's child when it comes to wildlife photography. I learned everything on the internet. post processing to how to handle your camera, everything. So it depends on the each to each. Like some would really like to learn it in a school. If so, get yourself enrolled in a photography school. Like Mumbai has Udaan, for that matter. So they teach you photography. Apart from that, if you love something, please follow your passion. Keep working at your craft, develop that, and success is yours. So
Ah,
continue to work hard, and your passion will definitely reflect in your work.
thank you so much, Aishwarya, for joining us and giving us tips. And once again, heartiest congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me here.
And the viewers, stay safe, stay healthy, and do follow all the rules and regulations. Okay, thanks a lot, Aishwarya.
Thank you, ma'am.